So that's a pretty catchy title, but it's true. In a certain aspect, it is. I struggled with alcoholism for, I don't know, a good 10 years, but got to a point up in 2016, 2017 where, I was getting bad to the point where I should have probably been hospitalized. Didn't go because I don't like hospitals. And, I tried everything though, from, you know, just the typical pills that they would give you to treat alcoholism. Not so much the antabuse type pills, because I'm not a dumbass. I'm not going to take pills that I know are going to make me sick. Even though they tried to slip me a couple under different names, like half-ass ones that were like a quarter of an antabuse, so like you could drink, but if you had more than like 3 drinks, you'd get sick. But either way, like I tried all the typical treatments. Worked with varying degrees. Very very little though. I mean, I mean, it's probably just as good as a placebo effect. I mean, it didn't really do much. I mean, I would quit and it would struggle. I couldn't really stay sober for more than like, I don't know, I think a few weeks maybe, um, by myself. And the scariest part about that was though is when I would quit, the last few times that I quit, right towards the end there, I had seizures, and that was dangerous because one of them I crashed a car, totaled a car, um, woke up on the ground a couple times. Woke up in a hospital, not a hospital, but paramedics next to me. It's kind of a scary feeling, and it comes and goes. You don't really have any warning of it. I did anyway. It's just that type of shit is, that's why I probably should have been hospitalized. But anyway, how the methamphetamine came involved. I remember I used to do methamphetamine for about a solid 6 months, maybe even pushing a year, back in early 2000s, mid 2000s, about mid 2000s, and it was a crazy drug. The first time I ever really had any experience with it. I mean, I had done like speed, which is methamphetamine too, but it's different type, different way you do it. It's actually a lot stronger, in my opinion. But anyway, but only a couple times when I was like in high school. I didn't do anything for like 10 years as far as that drug goes. Then I got involved in it pretty heavily, pretty much a daily user for a good 6 months or so. Anyway, it had been a while, but I do recall people that I was around who were doing it talking about how they no longer had the desire to drink, or if they, were drinking, like they would say like a beer would last them like half a day, one beer. Whereas before they were drinking 12 pack by noon, or something like that. And I didn't really take notice of it back then because I really wasn't a drinker anyway. I mean, I was a social drinker, but I didn't have a problem with alcoholism. So I remembered that, and I thought to myself, "Fuck, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? What do I got to lose? Because if I don't do something now, if I can't fix this myself, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I'm gonna have, check myself in for a couple weeks, and I just don't want to do that. I can't afford it. I mean, so fuck it. Methamphetamine is easy to get. Well, where I live, it is. I'm sure it's probably easy to get in most major cities, but especially in San Diego, where I'm from, most of that shit comes up through Mexico. So if you live anywhere near the border, San Diego or California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, all those border states are flooded with shit. And so yeah, just fucking asked around, got some, and I talked to a guy who I knew, a friend of mine from back in the day when we used to meth around. We both cleaned up around the same time, but I asked him about it too because he was a drinker, and he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I've been doing it. I've been doing it every day still." I'm like, "What? I thought you kicked it." He goes, "I did." Well, he goes, "I eat it like a pill." Like, really? You eat it like a pill? Anyway, long story short, he gave me the idea, and I tried it. Bought some meth, and didn't smoke it, which is the typical way that you do it nowadays. But no, I tried it as he did. Little pills. Not I made a little, not even put them into capsules, but just eat a little bit. And you're not typically, that's not how you do it. But that worked the best way because it didn't get you real tweaky. It wasn't real intense, but it lasted a lot longer. And you'd have to kind of find your balance. But I swear to God, I mean, sure, it's definitely methamphetamine. There's no doubt about it. It's just there's slight differences between the way it makes you feel. And so that's Jonesy too. It's kind of like the difference if you've ever done cocaine. The difference between doing cocaine and crack. Now, unless you've done cocaine and crack, they're both made from cocaine. It's pretty much the same thing, different ways. They make you feel different. Crack is a lot more intense. Same way with meth. But anyway, so I just ate it, and I did that. I had to find my balance. one time I ate too much and I was a little geeked out. I just had to find my balance. And I'd say the effects were almost immediate. Like as soon as I ate it, like that same day, I probably drank 50% of what I usually did. By the third or fourth day, I just kept eating it, twice a day. Once when I woke up a little bit, and once in the evening a little bit, and yeah, I just by the end of the week, I was like down to like one or two drinks a day. But like I said, it's I had to find my balance, and I did that with the meth for about a month. You know, I bought a decent amount because I wasn't sure how much I would need. Yeah, it last about a month, and before I ran out, I actually was trying to go to my doctor and talk to him about it, but the first doctor I talked to and told him that I've been self-medicating and treating myself with methamphetamine to cure alcoholism. He looked at me like I was fucking insane. He was like, "That's the fucking most." He said something to the effect of, "That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard." I said, "Yeah, it is retarded, right? But it fucking works." And I'm surprised you guys don't know about this because somebody else told me about it. Somebody else who was struggling with alcoholism, and it fucking worked for him too. And now that the more that I'm convinced that it works, the more I keep asking around, and the more I keep hearing the same thing. It's like, well, anybody who does methamphetamine is fucking high risk and this and that. I'm like, I'm not doubting that it's not dangerous. Never said that, but I just said that it fucking is the best drug to cure alcoholism. And I've tried them all. As I drink this cup of wine, right? So how this worked out? Yeah, I've had this bottle now for 2 days, and I'm only halfway through it. Yeah. Oh, what kind is this? Nice cap. Anyway, how it worked out is that doctor basically told me like, do what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna give you any more medication of any sort except for your blood pressure medication. Which honestly, now that I don't drink as much, I don't even have high blood pressure anymore. So yeah, so then I figured, okay, I'm gonna have to find a doctor because I don't want to keep taking meth. If I mean, obviously it has side effects and obviously it's bad for you, right? I mean, compared to what? I don't know. But I didn't want to keep doing that because I mean it is an addictive drug. And before I get into all the health risks or side effects, I think we all know drugs are bad. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to suggest if you have a drinking problem, go and eat meth because that would be retarded. I'm telling you what I did that worked. This is my story, not advice. So that's a disclaimer part of it. I'm gonna have to put a few of these in here. But anyway, yeah, I found a doctor, and I got off one of those, instead of like that cheap ass healthcare doctors that you can only see so many. I actually walked into a clinic that was a paid doctor. Like you paid up for $120, bam, to see the doctor, right? No insurance, right? I mean, I had insurance, but the insurance didn't cover him, so it's bam, paid out of pocket. I got a doctor who actually listened. He was like, told him, what was up. He was like, really? He was a younger guy too. Maybe that was part of it, but he's about my age, maybe a little bit younger, maybe. And yeah, he's like, that's fascinating. He goes, I've heard some other stories, nothing like that. He goes, but I've heard some weird things with other illegal drugs, curing or treating, common problems in people. I was like, yeah, well, they weren't always illegal. Most of the illegal drugs actually do have medicinal purposes. Like cocaine, for instance, was a topical numbing agent. I'm sure there are other effects. Antidepressant it was too. I mean, anyway, yeah, it's yeah. So basically, I talked to him and we came up with a drug. He's like, well, there's several drugs that have amphetamine in it. You can try some of them. I mean, he's like, I'm going to put you on a really low dose though. And I was like, yeah. He said, I'm like, tell you, I've tried all those, man. When I was younger, after before we did meth or after, even after, I tried to simulate to duplicate the effects of methamphetamine. It's not the same, doc. I mean, it's there. You'd have to eat like 10 times the amount to get the same effect. He's like, well, I'm not going to give you anything like that. So basically, we compromise into something called Vaynes, Vaynes, something like that. It's like an Adderall type drug, but it's like supposedly the strongest on the kind of its kind of that type of medication, and it does have like the highest amount of legit amphetamine in a pure form, of course, not the street shit that you get that has all kinds of weird shit in it. But yeah, and so we, put me on that dose, and of course, I took without his knowledge, 2 or 3 times the amount that I'm supposed to, But I had to, otherwise I didn't quite. I could feel like in my body like where I need to be in order for not to have cravings for alcohol. And I know it's hard to explain, but if you've ever struggled with addiction, you'll know you kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's basically it. Stopped doing meth, and like I said, did it for about a month, and then now I'm just taking these other pills, and it's kind of like I said, it's like an ADHD, like an Adderall type thing, but it's better, stronger. It's a lot stronger than Adderall, in my opinion, on certain things for certain people, I guess. But that's how I got off alcohol. I mean, methamphetamine actually really did actually take away the urge to drink. Um, I still drink, just don't drink very much, and it basically cured my alcoholism. It really did. I mean, and people will be like, "Oh, that's stupid." You're trading one fucking demon for the other. Not really, because it really depends on how what how it affected you, and like the methamphetamine. Well, again, like I only did it for a month, right? Well, at least this time around. I mean, um, any drug you abuse, right? Depending on how much you take it, how you take it, is ultimately going to have a negative effect on you, whether it's alcohol, cocaine, methamphetamine. I've even seen marijuana. And I hate to hit, just on weed because I used to smoke a lot of weed, but I've seen people like who just fucking just like that just fucking totally destroys them. They just lose all motivation. And I've seen it. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's like the least common of all of the drugs, but at the same time, any drug you abuse is going to have its effects. And the effects of methamphetamine are a lot less taxing on me, not only physically but emotionally, all around. Than alcohol. At least in the amount that I was doing alcohol, and at least in the amount that I'm doing amphetamine. The amount I'm doing amphetamine now is actually prescribed for various things like ADHD and asthma, stuff like that. So it's really not you know anything that's gonna like send you to the fucking moon or anything. Maybe if you eat the whole bottle, which I haven't tried, because I'm actually not looking to get high, but it is kind of nice to a little pep, give you a little something in the morning. Put some in take 2 or 3 pills with a cup of coffee. What it's kind of like, I think, is like I guess back in the 50s and 60s when amphetamine first came out, they were prescribing it to housewives who were low on energy or suffered from depression. They called them mother's little helpers or uppers. And I'm thinking that's exactly what the fucking thing is. What this shit is. It's just renamed as something different. Instead of yellows or blues or whatever the fuck the street called them. Now they're called, fancy names that people have a hard time pronouncing, and they don't ever suggest that they're used for antidepressants because amphetamine, even methamphetamine, is a serious antidepressant. It's probably the best one I've ever done. I mean, you could fucking be down on your luck and hating yourself. You smoke some meth and fucking like all your problems go away, and it's like euphoria, which is one of the reasons why it's so fucking addicting, is because it does make you feel awesome and it makes you feel like Superman. Of course, that's at first, right? Just like all drugs, but at the same time, I mean, I mean, it's just weird. I never would have thought, that it would have had that effect, but sure as shit it did. And I met this other old dude. Let me say this. I met this other old dude, old biker guy, um, and I asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah," he goes, he said like he bought something stupid like a pound, like back in the '90s, enough to last somebody like for the rest of their life if it was one person just doing it conservatively, right? And that's what he said. He goes, "Oh, you just found that out? I'm surprised nobody told you about that shit, man. You're a fucking LSD guy. I figured you think you know all the thing about drugs." Like, no, man, I didn't know shit about this. So yeah, fucking. He's like, yeah, man, well, that's an old biker trick, man. A lot of us had to clean up, fucking DUIs or went to prison, and didn't want to get out and hit the bottle again. A lot of us suffered from alcoholism, and a lot of us, suffered from methamphetamine too. But the alcoholism, those of us who are alcoholics, yeah, we learned that you take a little bit of amphetamine every day in your cup of coffee. Put in a cup of coffee, it's like fucking super coffee now. Like fuck espresso. Like throw some meth in your cup, right? Like that Folgers thing. That's smart. So, yeah, yeah. He's like, put some of that in my fucking coffee, and he's like, I get home after work and I put some more in another cup of coffee, and then I'm done. He's like, I'm done because I feel great because I sleep 4 hours a night. I don't need to sleep that much. Sleep 4 hours a night. My body's used to it. As I eat as much as I want. I don't gain weight. I'm not skinny. I just stay the same. He's like, don't have any health problems related to it. It's like I'm 78 years old, or not 68 years old, and I don't know. I'm not trying to glorify it because it's a dangerous drug. It is, and we've all seen the effects, long-term effects of methamphetamine. We've all seen the effects of those tweakers, who slam it, walking around Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning, like fucking fixing shopping carts and shit with a thing of WD-40, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Stealing copper outside of the building. Those are all effects that all junkies have, by the way. You go to places that have a high heroin population, same shit. Crack, same shit. It's just the nature of the drug addictions. But yeah, I'm not trying to glorify it, but yeah, it's something to I wouldn't recommend because that would be giving you dangerous or illegal advice, and I can't do that. But I know what worked for me, and that's my story. Yeah, and I got no problem taking a small amount of amphetamine, legal amphetamine, that I prescribed to not drink anymore. I mean, that's the effects are so minimal now because it's such a small dose that I don't really notice it. And once you've been doing it for a year or so, like I have, it doesn't really have an adverse effect. At first, it might have a little restlessness, little sleeplessness, but after a month, it was your body gets used to it. That's my story. That's how meth saved my life. Sorry, I hope maybe you're thinking of something a little more what do you call it, exciting or exaggerated, but that's it. But that's the truth because there's a very good chance that if not have been dead, could have seriously injured myself or somebody else. Having a stroke and crashing your car on a telephone pole. That could have been a person, or a fucking bus full of nuns. I don't know.